Hey, thanks. Welcome, everybody. I want to welcome and thank our panel that's on with us every week, getting through this. Michael Cochran from CMG, Bernardo from Marvel Insurance, John Barcelo, our appraisal expert, and
Tina Kendall.
Tina Kendall. Oh, that's right. And Byron's here too. Tina from Integrity. Tina's here. And we want to welcome you all in. Real quick on the God Made a Realtor thing for Paul Harvey there. I'm old. I remember Paul Harvey. And I always found that interesting. That was one of the first things I saw when I got started in the real estate. Somebody played that for me. So that was a long time ago, y'all. As soon as YouTube came around or whatever, it'd been a minute. I think, they were still writing contracts in stone with chisels and hammers when I was first started in this. But hey, guys, listen, we're going to just jump right to it and get in with you. We've got a friend of ours, more importantly, a friend of mine. I'll tell you real quick about Greg. Greg and I met about 10 years ago. We have daughters at the time. We're in the same class. And Greg was a freshly licensed, new, killing it. He's in the top left if you want to wind up blowing him up, Byron. Realtor. He was working for another brokerage. So you guys can imagine, I quickly started trying to recruit Greg to work for me at the brokerage that my brokerage at the time that I owned and franchises. And he did. And I actually recruited him away from Charles Ruttenberg Realty. And
wow.
9.5 years ago.
And they hired you here after that?
I didn't tell him, all right? It's a secret. Y'all don't let anybody know about that. And so Greg came over.
Hey, Bernardo.
And very quickly,
Good morning,
Greg
guys.
took over my compliance in my office. He took over, obviously, the tech. He's a tech person. He took over pretty much everything in the back office that we were doing. We wound up bundling that business up and selling it. I think he looked at me kind of crazy, like, what the heck are you doing, man? You drugged me over here. Now you sell the thing out from underneath me. And Greg, I'll let you fill in the blanks. But as his career evolved, he went over to another brokerage and quickly became the managing broker over there. It was a very similar kind of Ruttenberg office, had a lot of agents. I think you guys had about 400 agents at the time. And then Greg, I'm gonna say about a little over 4 years ago, around 4 years ago, you got recruited over to Opendoor, and I will let you take over from there.
So April will be 4 years. So I'm 3.5 years in at Opendoor now. I am the market operations broker. So basically I oversee all real estate operations, acquisition, renovation, and resale across 7 states. I'm a licensed broker in 7 states, so, certainly keeps me busy. But what I wanted to really talk to you guys about today, and thank you, Mike, for the opportunity. As Mike said, we were one of those people that met and just sort of became best friends, like almost overnight. It was really, we went from not knowing each other to talking every day within like literally a couple of weeks. It was crazy. Yeah. There are people in your life you just meet like that. So I always say that when it comes to the real estate business, Mike knows more about the real estate business than anyone I've ever met. And I know more about the compliance and the people side than he will probably ever want to learn. So we complement each other extremely well in that respect. So I certainly appreciate the opportunity to be able to be here and talk to you guys today. What I wanted to really focus on is Opendoor, for better or worse, we have a reputation in the market. When there were a number of iBuyers in the game a few years ago, iBuyers as a whole sort of got a reputation for being a little bit shisty, a little bit maybe untoward in some ways. And I'm very, very proud to say that Opendoor has stood the test of time and has emerged really as the last iBuyer standing. We do things very, very differently. And again, they're not paying me to say this. This is the reason that I've stayed here. I think Mike would tell you that I am someone of very high integrity. And so if we were not doing things the right way, I would not continue to hold this job. I don't stay anywhere for a paycheck. I stay here because I believe in what we're doing and I believe in the real estate industry as a whole. So that's not to toot my own horn. That's, nothing on me. That's just kind of laying the foundation of who I am and why I'm here. That being said, right now, the real estate industry in Tampa Bay, especially, is in a really unique place. Um, there are a lot of sellers right now who don't know what to do. You know, getting hit with 200-year storms in, what was it, 12 days?
Yeah.
Has created a situation where there are a lot of sellers who are now saying, I just don't know what to do. My house got flooded or damaged or, whatever the case may be. And as we all know, there are investors out there who will offer you pennies on the dollar for your home. But even those are getting tied up now. They can only do 3 or 4 properties at a time because that's their capacity. So Opendoor really sort of at my behest.
Yeah, let me
Along,
jump in real quick and highlight
yeah,
this here. Greg and I started talking about this right after the first storm,
yeah.
and I think that Opendoor was kind of shying away. Hold on.
Byron, make that
There we go.
stop.
Byron, our tech over here, I don't know. I think he got an email. But so, initially Greg, and I had a quick conversation and it was like, yeah, we're not really buying, it's not in our model right now, or I'm not getting the support from that. So we stopped talking about it literally for like 2 weeks. But I do want to tell you what I saw that just came out. So we have a really good idea. There's been more than 380,000 claims made between the two storms. Between Milton alone, Hillsborough, Pinellas, Manatee, Sarasota, Pasco, our Tampa Bay market, we could arguably add another county or two in there, but these are the big ones. Between those 5 counties in Milton alone, there's 150,000 claims. 150,000, guys. Now let's fast forward to 12 days later, and you put Helene in there. I'm sorry, I think Helene was
You have it
first.
backwards, but that's okay.
I've got it backwards. Milton had the larger of the two, but Helene, as we know, was different kind of damage. There's 77,100 in those same counties. So we've got 225, 230,000 people in our immediate market that have a need for what these guys are doing. So after Greg and I talking initially, he called me back, or I think you sent me a text like 2 weeks after, and you're like, hey, after I've had extensive conversation over and over with management, or, Greg doesn't have too many bosses there, but he does have a couple of bosses. Greg is high up on the food chain there. That's where I want to fill it in. I mean, he worked hard to get them behind the scenes that I wasn't even aware of to get them to start looking at doing this. Correct, Greg?
Yeah. So basically what happened was, as you guys know, we are Wall Street backed. Opendoor has a little over $3 billion in cash right now. But we are Wall Street backed. And as you know, Wall Street is very risk averse. So, we want the easy home run money. That's kind of that's what they want. So we really came in and said, listen, this is a place for Opendoor to raise the bar and fill a need in a community that desperately needs it. There are not enough investors to make these homeowners whole. We have an opportunity here, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. There's an opportunity to make some money here, and that's the name of the game when it comes to any real estate. But we need to really fill a need, and so we were able to kind of go through and pitch to the money people that Opendoor should be able to buy some of these flood homes. Now, there's a couple of caveats to this. One, if they are in the highly flood prone areas, the areas that flood every year with summer rains, we're probably not going to take those on. If the home has been shifted from its foundation and it's now a tear down, we're probably not going to go for that. But if this was the fluke 100-year storm, this house, they've lived there 25 years, they've never had water in the house, and now all of a sudden these storms brought in water, those are the type of properties that we can step in and work on. Now,
for the agents, I would think some of the Milton freshwater flooding stuff that wasn't in flood zones altogether and wasn't on the coastal stuff. These might be good candidates.
Exactly. But it was enough to scare a lot of these owners, because they're like, this has never happened before, and I don't ever want it to happen again. And if you guys are having half the conversations I have, this is sounding very, very familiar. So basically what we've done is Opendoor has a product that's called Opendoor Select. And I'm giving you guys a little bit of a glimpse behind the curtain here, but basically in 5% of the properties that we purchase, we drop them into this Select program and we basically do a full renovation on them. So we go in, we rip out the kitchen, rip out the bathrooms, the floors, redo it really nicely, and then put that property on the market. What I've gotten permission to do now is get some of these as-is flood homes. So effectively, the homes that are not tear downs, but that need to be renovated and the sellers just don't want to do it. Opendoor now has a pool of money where we're able to come in and purchase those homes for your customers. Understand, your customers are going to take a haircut on this house. That's just, it is what it's going to be. That's going to be true of any investor that they sell it to. So I don't want to, come in here with any false pretense and let you think like Opendoor is going to pay top dollar for this property, because we can't. But for a lot of these homeowners who, maybe they were underinsured or whatever the case may be, we can come in as a resource to be able to buy this property and get them out from underneath it to allow them an opportunity to move on to whatever's next for them. So the other caveat I want to put out here is this is a very manual process. Opendoor is used to doing things very automated. If any of you have done deals with Opendoor, hopefully your experience was it was quick, it was certain, it was easy. The automation and everything that we have in place typically makes this a pretty smooth process. This is not going to be that. So basically what will happen is you'll go to opendoor.com, you'll put in the property address as though you were the homeowner. You'll go through and say, answer some questions about the home that you as an agent would know. And then at some point in the process, it'll say, are you represented by an agent or are you an agent? And then at that point, you say yes. You put in your contact information, and all communication on that property now goes through you. We're not going to talk to your customer without your permission or anything else. We treat it exactly the same way we would if we were representing a seller represented property. So all communications, emails, and everything are going to go right through you as the agent. That's something that Opendoor does a little bit differently. Some of the other iBuyers will circumvent you to still communicate with your customer, and we just don't believe that's the right thing to do. So what'll happen then is you're going to get a preliminary offer that will look like what the home would be without flood damage. What's going to happen then is we're going to send out one of our employees that's going to do an assessment. They're one of our homes managers. They're going to walk through and they're basically going to take pictures and video of the damage of the home. From there, they're going to contact our vendors, because Opendoor has dedicated vendors that we work with. So we have a lot more capacity than some of these, other smaller time investors who can only do 2 or 3 properties. We're used to flipping 300 to 400 properties in Florida alone at any given time. So we've got significant resources and companies that help us with this. They're going to go to the vendors and get estimates on what it's going to cost Opendoor to restore this home. With that, then we'll come back to you and say, okay, we've gotten our estimates. Now we've got a number for this property. That's probably going to take about 3 to 4 days. Normally, we can get you offer in 3 to 4 hours. Because we don't have an automated process for this, this is totally a one-off. It's very, very manual. So I like to set that expectation because it's clunky. It's going to be. But because this is something we're really just throwing together to be able to be a benefit to the community, you have to kind of be patient with us, but let us work through the process so that we can get your customer a fair offer for their home. I think
there's going to be a lot of questions, guys, for Greg, and now is a good time to get them. Hold on to them. We'll open it up for questions, because if you type them in the chat right now, we'll lose them in the feed. So I know you guys are going to have some questions about how to do it and move forward. I didn't mean to jump in on you, Greg, there, but I know
that's fine.
Coming in.
Yeah, the only other thing I wanted to add is Opendoor outside of this program. I just wanted to, I've got a pretty good audience here. I just wanted to make a very quick plug because my boss would kill me if I don't. A lot of you have heard of like the Mark Spain model. And Mark Spain, their claim is that they'll get you a guaranteed offer on your property. What most people don't know is that Mark Spain works with Opendoor, that we are the guaranteed offer. So if you guys are losing listings to a Mark Spain agent because the seller says, well, somebody can get me a guaranteed offer, you guys now have the same opportunity. You can come in and request an offer from Opendoor using the exact same process that I just gave you. You go to opendoor.com, you put in the property address, you actually start it before you go on your listing presentation. So that way, when you go in, you can basically say, listen, if you are wanting to get out of your house right now, here's a guaranteed cash offer that we can get you. It's going to be the range because we haven't done our assessment yet, but it at least gives you a good ballpark. The flip side is if you want to list your property, I can list it and we can get you, more money, obviously, assuming the market supports it right now. But it gives you the option to then have that same leverage point that a Mark Spain or somebody else can come in and do. And you guys may find that it'll help you land more listings because you're giving your customers options. And ultimately, that's what I'm here to promote is just basically, we are an option. We're never going to give your customer quite as much as they're going to get on the open market because we have to resell it. That's always the case. But for those customers that are like, hey, listen, I've got a job across country in 30 days and I got to get there, get me a cash offer and get me out of here, Opendoor can do that. So I just wanted to kind of drop that as well. But I'm certainly happy to take any questions or Mike, if there's anything you guys want to add first.
No, I just want to add to it real quick on option one, the flood, the damaged homes. Obviously, guys, we're not going to be able to buy them all. They're going to buy certain areas and things that work. But here's what I'm hearing. Amir and I hear a lot. Amir hears a lot from agents. I'm hearing that investors, and we all know how this is going. You've had a property just before the 200-year storms. You've had a property on the market for a period of time, it's not selling, people are looking on the MLS and they think, okay, maybe it's right for an offer from an investor. That's one way that we've done business with investors, but these investors, these smaller, I call them the backyard investor, backyard flipper, the zip code flipper, maybe a county flipper, and then you get into these regional flippers that are bigger operations. They will come in and make you look really bad in front of your client if you're not careful. They will PO your client because their tactics. They get you under contract. We know what they do. For God's sake, please don't be taking assignable contracts either right now. But that's a whole nother discussion, guys. Or don't be advising your client to let them start shopping it out there. If you come in with a cash offer from a Wall Street company, he explained the process to you. That's what it's going to be. You're not going to be dealing with this nickel and dimer that's out there swinging the hammer themselves, thinking, if I can come back and chisel another $1,500 off for a hot water heater or whatever here or there, then that's money in my pocket. They're going to give you a price. That final price is going to be what it's going to be, and you can take it to the bank, literally, in 14 days and have a closing. And then on option number two, the regular services, they're not a disaster type of situation. I didn't even know this until Greg and I were talking about 3 weeks ago that John Wayne Real Estate or Mark Spain, whatever we call it. Yeah, Mark hit too.
Or John Wayne.
They have made a business model out of working with them. Right. I thought that Mark Spain was buying a lot of properties himself, and he's not. He's just using this model. He has multi-million-dollar advertising budget. He's killing it if you haven't seen his numbers or their numbers. So, hey, everybody on this Zoom, I would incorporate that into your listing plan strategy. I would absolutely do that. We won't get too deep into listing training. I think we talked about that last week, taking that listing, and we'll talk about it more. But I would come in exactly like Greg said. When I showed up to the listing, I like, listen, I like the way he says, no showings, in his commercial, no showings, no grief, no aggravation, no financing approval, contingencies, all this stuff. Here's your cash offer. Second, Mr. and Ms. Seller, here is what your property is worth today. If we put it on the market, open market, and expect a reasonable close, which I think median days on market's really ticking up now, about 60 plus days. So 2 months if you don't make any repairs. And then level 3 would be, okay, let's get an inspection done of your property. Let's punch out these inspection issues. Let's invest some money in the property and maybe get it on the market in 4 months or something, 5 months. I don't know. We still have the same number of contractors we had, a month ago, and they're busy right now. So you can't get done anything quickly. I'm thinking, Opendoor can, because they're moved up. Their contractors are moving them up to the front of the list because they want that bulk work that comes from them. So I will tell you, from a listing standpoint, that would be my strategy going in. I would say, here's your cash offer. You want to do this, no fuss, no muss, let's go. Get you out of here.
Maybe somebody who's like been in their house for a long time, they've had this damage. Their mortgage payoff is probably not like somebody who just bought a house a few years ago. So Opendoor can come in and give them an offer that allows them to pay off that mortgage and walk away with a little money for whatever's next on.
Absolutely. And that's the product that's in their wheelhouse that they do 300 to 400 at any given time in Florida going on. They're going to be able to get you that automated quick and deal. It's going to be a lot cleaner than this, like you said, clunky situation with option 2. And I will tell you, as we all know, there's a certain amount of people out there, and I'm not so sure I'm not one of them, that will give up some money for the convenience of, I don't want no stress, man.
Right.
I am. So I just wanted to point that out there to you guys that, there's certainly some revelations for me seeing that they can put these offers together and go in and again, I've been watching Mark Spain for the last 2 or 3 years, all of his commercials. I had no idea that it was Opendoor. That was his cash buyer. So
when it comes to Greg, when it comes to the logistics of things, you mentioned, you go to the website and you claim that you are the realtor, or you're the realtor. So, and you said that kind of straps them to you. Well, what if you're competing for the listing and another agent's doing the same thing?
So basically, until we do that valuation, until we actually send somebody to walk through the property, look at it, before they get their final number, we'll still communicate with multiple agents if that's the scenario. So, if 2 or 3 agents are competing for the same property, we're still going to, we're basically going to give you all the same offer. Because our system knows it's the same property address, it's using the same comps. There's a lot of AI involved, like we're spending a couple $1 million a year on AI automations to be able to get really good data to dial in these valuations on your home. So, there's a human element. There's always our pricing team that puts eyes on it. But for the most part, the offer is going to be exactly the same, unless there's a closing in between when the first agent and the second agent, and that becomes a comparable that might change it. But aside from that, you're going to get the exact same offer no matter what. So you're all going to basically come in with the same number.
Okay. Cool. Hey guys, we're going to open it up for questions now because I know Greg's got a tight schedule today. So either option 1 or 2, if the clunkier one that they're still working the kinks out in, or I should say developing it as you go, Greg, and thank you for that. The one on the flooded homes or storm damaged homes. If you have questions about that process, shoot them up right now. Or if you have questions about their regular product, let us know. What do you got, Byron? Henry Ford. Hank, what do you got? Shocker Ford.
Hey guys. Hope everyone's doing well today. Hey Mike, you and I brought this question to you. You weren't sure last week about. I was reading on the Opendoor website that if a property had been listed for more than 30 days on the MLS, that it was not eligible for the whatever that bonus program was, the $1,000. Was I reading that correctly?
So that's been a recent change. I hadn't heard about that, but I heard just recently somebody else said that. I've got a question out to our pricing team about it because previously that wasn't the case. There may be a change to it. So I was hoping to have the answer before this morning, and I haven't gotten it back yet. But Mike, when I do get that answer, I'll shoot it to you and you can cascade it. That may be something that's changed, but if so, it's been a fairly new change.
Okay, so I was understanding it correctly. We just need clarification.
Yes, exactly. Normally, obviously, if a property's been sitting at a certain price for more than 30 days, then Open Door's offer is going to adjust for that. You know, obviously the home is not selling at the price point that it's at, so our offer is going to be lower than that. But I had not heard that the agent still couldn't get their 1%. And it's a good point, and I'll go ahead and raise that. So basically what Open Door does is if you bring Open Door a seller, we're going to pay you a 1% referral. So basically like a 1% commission to bring us your seller. Now you could negotiate with your seller to get another 1.5 or 2 or 3 apples or whatever you want, since we're not allowed to talk percentages.
You're the buyer,
Open
man.
Door-
We can talk. You're not you're the buyer yourself, so you're just talking to Ruttenberg agent.
There you go.
All right.
So basically, you know, we're going to pay you 1% as a referral. You can be involved or you can hand it off to us and we'll work directly with your customer if you prefer. But you still get that 1% referral no matter what. So
Okay.
glad you mentioned that.
Great,
Yeah,
thank you.
all right. To that, Hank?
Hi, Gloria Doran.
Hi, Gloria. So I will say this for Greg because he's probably one of the nicest people you'll meet. But Greg may not be giving his contact information out to us simply because he is broker of 7 different states, and yeah, and he's got channels that this runs through, and he's at the top of the channel, so it'll get filtered out the other way. Correct, Greg? If you want to.
Yeah. So basically, I have what's called an EP team. They're called experienced partners. They are licensed real estate agents in Florida that handle our Florida team. I've got 8 or 9 of them that are handling, I think we're up to like 16 or 1700 listings throughout Florida right now. So, you know, it goes through that team. That team is fantastic. They report to their manager, who then reports to me. So what I always say is by the time something gets to me, the world is on fire and it's my job to put it out. But I do have a fantastic team below me that does a really great job at taking care of you guys as customers. So yes, that's true.
Greg, did I hear you right? 1700 listings at any given time you guys are carrying in Florida?
Yeah.
You're the only broker I know that has more than us.
Yeah.
we usually carry about 1200. So yeah.
Oh, but you guys are in one
We
market.
got a large share of the market right here today.
Right.
So-
Yeah, see, that's through Orlando, Jacksonville, Miami, and Tampa. So that is, you know, basically everything but the panhandle. So
yeah, Joe's question got answered on the money, on how we get paid, and Gloria's saying hi to Tina.
Gloria and I have known each other many, many years.
So Greg, are you guys doing anything with condos and townhomes?
So we will buy condos and townhomes. The condos go through an extra level of scrutiny for obvious reasons, because so many of the condo associations are uninsurable. Because Open Door carries a blanket insurance policy, we don't do individual insurance per property. We have to apply an extra level of scrutiny to the condo to make sure that they are insurable, that we're going to be able to resell them, that kind of thing. But yes, we do buy villas, townhomes, condos, single family. We don't buy manufactured homes and we don't buy vacant land. Previously, we didn't buy guard-gated communities, but we actually just in the last couple of months created a path for that. So we will buy in gated communities and now guard-gated communities as well. So yep, we got that forward.
The condo market is going to be right here soon because of the massive number of listings and inventory we see in that. I can see that definitely becoming you guys becoming a go-to product for that, because there's a lot of people that need. I've been preaching this one for about a year now. Jump on the condos, guys. This where there's inventory, there's transactions, and unfortunately, these people are not gonna, you know, they're gonna take a haircut. They're gonna take a serious haircut on these things because of the poor financial health of the a lot of these organizations, these the boards, and you know, you have unprofessional people that just maybe, you know, lived here for a long time or were the most popular in the building because they came to the Friday night socials and brought their bean dip or whatever, and you know, they got elected, but they know nothing about running an association. Okay, it wasn't the bean dip, maybe it was the crab dip. All right, they laugh at me with my analogies in here, Greg.
Yes, because they brought the boss.
So guys, jump on that that side of the market. I think we're up to about 8-9 months of inventory now with
Yeah.
with condos. So I suspect once the market kind of surfaces after the drowning just had, the flooding we just had, we're trying to get listings back up. So they're going to be substantially more. I think we lost a couple hundred. They've temporarily had to come off the market because they're storm damaged or and something. So
I'll tell you this, it's kicked up this week. I don't know what's I mean, I have seen more contracts come into my office over the weekend, Monday and Tuesday, than we saw previously in October, in just a few days.
Sure.
I think we had 8 or 9 contracts come in between the weekend and Monday.
that's awesome.
And then a couple others come in to
That's
Integrity
awesome.
on Tuesday, so.
We're seeing the
Fine.
exact same. Yeah.
Yeah.
The last 5 days have just been crazy for new, offers coming in and things like that. So I think now the storm is far enough away that people are like, okay, they started with analysis paralysis.
Yeah.
And I think it's a phrase that I stole from Mike, but I've used it enough times that I'm claiming it as my own now. People just get to the point where they're like, I don't know what to do. And, Mike and I were talking over the weekend about some people we know that are in that situation. It's so overwhelming for them that they just don't know where to go next and how to put one foot in front of the other. So you guys as real estate professionals are going to be a huge asset for these owners who don't know what to do. And I always said, when a deal is going sideways, this is the biggest issue in the world for my customer. But for me, it's just Tuesday, right? Like this is what we do every day. Deals go sideways. We figure out how to fix them. We put out the fire. That's what we're here to do. One of the lines I always used, and I'll share this again, Mike's probably sick of hearing it. But I always told my customers when I was transacting, I don't transact anymore, but when I was transacting, I would always tell them, we're on this roller coaster, right? You're in the car going up and down. I'm standing on the platform with my hand on the button. Because if I'm on that roller coaster car with you, there's nobody left to drive.
Yeah.
That's how I positioned myself as the expert. So when they called me and went, hey, my lender's freaking out, my title company's freaking out, whatever the case may be, it's my job then to be the professional to say, no problem, I got it. Let me make some phone calls. I'm standing on the platform with my hand on the button. I'm not on this roller coaster freaking out with you. And it's important for you guys to set that expectation with your customers because you are the professional. You are the one that's driving. So, just set that expectation. Don't get on the roller coaster with them. Don't get too invested because, too many people on the roller coaster can cause a lot of chaos.
So hey guys, we need you to just type your questions in the bar for us right here. I see Donna has asked a question about the form questions in Opendoor. Don't give options for storm damage. That's what we went over initially. Greg, I'll let you give the 30-second response to that, how they don't have the storm option.
Right. So basically, we don't have automation for this yet. So what you're going to do is you're going to request the offer, and our first offer is going to be as though it were not a storm damaged home. We're then going to send one of our homes managers out to do the on-site assessment. So basically, they're going to walk through, they're going to take pictures, whether the drywall is ripped out or not, if the cabinets are water warped, whatever the case may be. They're going to go through, it's about a 15-minute visit. They're going to take pictures of water heater, air conditioner, floors, walls, cabinets, countertops, things like that. And then once they go through and get estimates on what it's going to cost us to restore this home, that's when you're going to get your final offer, 3 or 4 days later.
So Greg, what's kind of the timeline of everything from, if I go in today to Opendoor, I put in, the property address, answer the questions, get my instant offer. And I go to the seller seems like they're interested. If I go to the seller today and they seem like they're interested, I come back to you and say, hey, can we make this happen? How long would the process take?
So basically, we can normally get out to the property within 24 to 48 hours. So we're scheduling, 18 to 20 of these assessments a day. So normally at your customer's convenience, we'll tell them we'll be there between 8 and 10, 10 and 12, 12 and 2. We give them a relatively short window. And based on where the property is located and how many we have on the books in that area, we can normally get out there within a couple of days. They do that assessment. Normally what happens is we do that assessment. They go back, upload the pictures. It gets sent to our pricing team. They crunch some numbers for what we think we're going to need for repairs based on the customer's answer. How old is the roof? How old is the AC? How old is the water heater? You know, how good is the floors, the paint, things like that. Normally, we would have your final offer back within another 24 hours. So beginning to end, you're talking 2 to 3 days. With this storm process, it's a little bit longer, so I would set the expectation of about a week.
Okay.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. I like it. Byron, do we have the top question or do we have this one? Highlight which one we got.
Either one.
The
Can't
bottom
see all the
one,
way up.
the
Yeah,
Amy's
no,
question.
it's these two. That's it.
Okay, you may have said it, but can we submit an offer on behalf of the client, even if they weren't 100% sure they wanted to sell or buy their property?
Of course, absolutely. Like I said, that's what Mark Spain does on every single listing. When they do a listing appointment, they have an Opendoor offer in hand. Excuse me, when they show up to do that listing appointment, they've got the Opendoor offer in hand, and you guys can do the exact same thing.
Perfect. Okay, next question. Min has asked, when we bring our buyers deals, typically we get to list the properties as well. Is that an option? Opendoor will list at the property, we think, with their own brokerage.
Yeah, so basically we do have Opendoor brokerage, which I represent, obviously. So we do list. We do have what's called external listing agents. So there are times where we will have an Opendoor owned property that for one reason or another gets listed by one of our partner agents that's not affiliated with Opendoor brokerage. Admittedly, I don't deal a lot with that team, so I don't know what the process entails for you being able to list an Opendoor listed property. But I could certainly work with our partnerships team to figure out if that's something that could be extended to you guys for sure.
Awesome, thank you. All right, what do we got? We got any more questions? I'm surprised we don't have more. All right.
I think everybody's just taking it all in. It's a
They're
lot of
soaking
information.
it all in. All right, well, guys,
It's a good
listen.
option. It's definitely a
It's
great
just an option, and people need options right now. And you know, for a lot of people, it's going to be an option that they that works for them, that they need. They might be in dire situation,
option.
and understandably, you know, they're going to sell for a percentage less than
Right.
Mark and the grief that.
Well,
that
just
person-
like
There we go.
what Greg was saying, we're the professional. They're going through chaos, not even organized chaos right now. And they're looking to us for
Guidance.
direction.
Yeah.
And, keep that calm demeanor and tell them what they should be doing or how they, how to get to this part of their life that they want to get to. So,
Yeah. And you need to be confident in what you're doing. And the only way you have confidence is to be very knowledgeable about what you're talking about. And then you will exude the confidence. I think we have a
Dave,
question from Candace. Okay.
Yep.
I
So this
mentioned
is,
another option to help realtors with their clients. Yeah, go ahead, Candace. What do you got?
yep. So Greg, this is great information. I'm a loan officer on the other side, so teamed up
Okay.
with CRR. So I am actually having a Zoom. I'm in the middle of it too. I'm one of the ones who lost their house in Helene and wish that Milton would have just finished it because it's a nightmare, but trying to figure out ways to help the community. This is a great one. We're also having a Zoom today at 1. I can send the link in here about the FHA 203H loan. It's a disaster affected relief loan that can help buyers and renters. If you've been working with a client who was a first time home buyer and they were renting and that place got destroyed, they can use this loan for 100% financing. We got flexibility on credits. We're going to be easier on credit score and not as hard on collecting documents because you might have lost them in the flood like I did. So that's just another option for the agents. I'm going to type in here the link for the Zoom today at 1. Our head of VP for the renovation department is just going to do questions and answers. So realtors, I'd love for you guys to jump on there too, because the more tools you can have in your pocket for the clients, the better you look. So
Absolutely.
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Hey, Greg, we've got a question. How does the 50% rule play into this options with Opendoor?
So that's something that we're looking at. And basically, we will work with the county to find out if this home falls into the 50%. If it has to be like torn down and rebuilt, then that's something that Opendoor probably wouldn't take on. If there's an easy option on being able to like build up or something like that, that's something we can consider. But that is part of the due diligence that Opendoor does, is to figure out, does this home have enough damage that it's going to fall within the 50% rule? And if so, then we may or may not be able to move forward with those homes. So that's a good question.
Okay, and then the other question was, what variety of reasons would you get a response of can't make an offer? Is there a cap on the price point, or can make an offer?
Who can make offer? Opendoor.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Opendoor.
So basically, Opendoor has a buy box. So we won't buy homes that were built before, I want to say it's 1964, which, you know, kind of in the St. Pete, some of those 50s homes. We won't do that. We won't buy manufactured homes. We won't buy like a home that also includes a second parcel of land, things like that. So we do have a buy box that we fall into. Outside of that, we don't really have, well, I take that back. Our cap is somewhere around $1 million. I know we buy $800,000 and $900,000 properties in Miami. It is based on zip code, so you know that cap may fluctuate a little bit. And I do know with this select program, they're not giving us an infinite amount of money. I know there is a cap to how many of these flood homes we're going to be able to buy. I haven't heard a number on that yet. So I don't know if we're going to be able to buy 200 properties, 1,000 properties. I don't know what that is. Once we reach that cap, then we obviously won't be able to buy any more. So time is of the essence with it. But those would really be the main reasons that we would say no, would be either the damage is too extensive that we would have to tear it down, or, you know, things like that, we would say no. Or if we get to the cap and the money people say, all right, guys, that's all the money we're giving you, we're out, you know, then that would be the other reason.
And that was a good point, guys, as time is of the essence to get this out there, because I don't think that you guys have taken this really public yet, that you're buying some of these storm damage homes. So I do believe the people on the Zoom might be getting the first little sneak peek of this. And we thank you for that, Greg, for coming on and telling us.
Yeah, we've purchased 8 or 9 in the last week. So
oh, you did? Okay.
That's it. And it's been from, honestly, I think it's Mark Spain partner agents who found out pretty much as quickly as Mike did. Because as soon as I got off the Zoom, I texted Mike and said, hey, I finally won, you know, let's go. So
yep, let's rock and roll.
Let's
schedule this.
Many affected by these storms are still waiting for insurance adjuster to inspect. Would homeowners need to wait until this is completed?
So basically what we would do is they understand that if we close on their home, it stops their insurance claim. So what I would suggest is go ahead and get the process rolling. We can push the closing out a little bit to give them time to have the adjusters, you know, give them a final number. This is the other thing, and I forgot to mention it. Your sellers can cancel at any time for any reason with no penalty. So it's not like and this is true of any product, not just the flood homes. If we go in contract and your seller goes, you know what, I changed my mind, this is just not what I want to do, they can cancel at any point, and Opendoor is not going to hold them to the sale. We're just going to let them out and we part as friends. So understand that as well. This is an option where we could start the process, and then, you know, maybe the insurance adjuster comes back and gives them enough money that they go, yeah, maybe I don't want to sell. Maybe I do want to rebuild. You can cancel the contract with Opendoor, and, you know, there's no penalties or anything like that either.
Is that language in the contract? You put that in writing, obviously?
Yeah. Yep, it's in our Opendoor addendum. So we have a separate Opendoor addendum that lays out clauses, and one of them is you can cancel with no penalty. Obviously, Opendoor will retain our earnest money, but you get to cancel and
that's awesome. That's a, you know, a risk-free opportunity for them. I can't see why you wouldn't get a bunch in the hopper. All right, Debbie Schmidt, we have a question. Is there someone I can talk to that can help us in the actual purchase of Opendoor listings? I've had issues getting responses that are not automated, repairs or lenders getting responses from OD. It seems very automated. Well, yeah, they're a tech company. They are, Debbie, and often frustrating to buyers and lenders. Or is there training or buying or making offers for Opendoor homes? Is there, I think she's asking, is there training on making offers?
So Opendoor has changed our process about 6 months ago. Before we sort of, I mentioned I have an EP team, my experienced partners. Before it was kind of a round robin, like when a contract would come in, they would get assigned. Whereas now they are the co-list agent in the MLS. So when you look at any Opendoor property, the first agent is going to be Allie Johnston. And I will tell you, it is easier to reach Santa Claus than it is to reach Allie Johnston because she's our for like 4 states.
Still waiting on him.
Yeah, you will never get a hold of Allie because I can't hardly get a hold of Allie. And I have every access to her. So look at Agent 2. Agent 2 is going to be our EP that is assigned to that property. There's a phone number and an email address attached to the listing that's going to get you in contact with the EP that will be attached to that property. You can call them, you can text them, you can email them with questions, and they are really good at getting back to you. Now, as with all things, our vendors, we can't control. We have really good relationships with our vendors, but there are times where, you know, a vendor either drops the ball or gets behind and doesn't meet deadlines. And I know how frustrating that can be for your buyers. That's something I've got a dedicated team working on is our vendor management. So it has been an issue in the past. It is something that is very top of mind for me and my team to be able to better that experience for you. So I don't know how long it was that you did a deal with Opendoor, but I would hope that from this point moving forward, there should not be as many of those frustrations as you've encountered in the past. So
awesome. Thank you for that answer. And I know that's a tough one to answer, Greg. It's like the size of our brokerage. People say, well, it shouldn't be this way. This agent did that. Well, we can't control everything. We just try to get everybody to be responsive and professional. What's that other question? Did it get asked about the flood zone?
Flood zone, he answered it a long time ago.
Answered a long time ago. Okay. All right. We wrapping them up here? Do we got any more questions?
No, we just got Barcelo and Bernardo.
Yeah, well, Greg, thank you so much for coming on. I'll let you get off if you need to. We're gonna wrap this up in like the next 5-10 minutes. If you want to hang around, you can, but I know you got a lot going on. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming on today. And
I'll go on mute. If anybody pops up with any other questions, I'll hang out for the next 10 minutes or so to answer anything else.
Great.
Cool. I'm going to let our other panelists say something here real quick, but before we get there, because we are running out of time, I just want to talk. Make sure that you see the Florida Realtors Disaster Relief. Bernardo, any of you guys, Candace, I don't know if you're a licensed realtor. You have to be a realtor, but I did get a call yesterday from a friend of ours at the board that said, listen, Florida Realtors has plenty of money left in this disaster relief fund. They're giving $2,500 clips pretty generously. Yeah, I would say. I don't want to say so you got to go to Florida Realtors, fill out the quick little form on it, or click on the tab,
Submit your pictures and stuff like that, or whatever you got, and yeah, it goes through a quick little approval process or denial process. But from what I understand, it's been really lackadaisical almost.
Yeah, looking for the right word. It's been almost rubber stamped.
Yeah. And because they want to help, they really want to help. They have this fund dedicated to realtors going through a tough time, especially in a disaster. So
yeah, and you can use that money for anything. I think there'll be a prompt in there when they send it to you that says, feel free to pay your dues with this, because as we know, those are all coming up right now. And I did get told yesterday that there's I think it's the second step you go to, requested information, that they're asking for your insurance claim or your adjuster's report or something like that. I was told yesterday, if you do not have that, just take pictures yourself and put the pictures up there, and they will approve it based on your pictures. It's just a level of checking to make sure it's not fraud, that you actually do have a damaged home. And before we get, last thing I just want to say is, man, the board has come out with some classes. I would really, in November, these are classes, negotiation, back to, that thing we almost forgot about. What was it back in August? There was a
something
NAR
about-
settlement. That's
Ah.
what it was, yeah. Forgot about that. With the
We've been all
hurricane.
been trying to forget about that for a minute.
Yeah, but
But
they've
it's
got
there.
a negotiating class that's got CEs. They've got a buyer's agent boot camp. They've got another section, a 102 class on the negotiating. They got all these classes. I see them here. Guys, it's a great time to hone your skills a little bit, sharpen your saw, whatever you want to call it. We don't know what the market looks like. I can tell you through the end of the year, interest rates have gone up a little bit. We're still having a little storm hangover. But that doesn't mean deals aren't getting brought in and done, as we know.
Run in
So,
where?
yeah, brought into integrity
There we go.
over there and bringing deals in. So, don't take your eye completely off the ball. Don't pack it in for Thanksgiving already. I think you could go out there and really.
Yeah.
I know. So you know what happens around Thanksgiving? Everybody just hangs their cleats up.
Yeah.
I'm taking a break until about January 20th. And guess what? That'll back your business up to about March 20th. So I'd say churn really hard right now. There's people looking to make deals and need to out there. So I want to give you that information. Michael, I want to give you the floor for a minute and see what you got for us.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Well, you heard from Candace, one of our amazing loan officers here a few minutes ago. Her contact info is in the chat as well as mine. And then that other link that's in the chat is to a 203H presentation that she's got. That's a great loan right now for anybody that had a home that was destroyed. Let's say your client sells their home to Opendoor. What are they going to do next? Well, they can use a 203H loan to buy a new home. If they were in one of the designated disaster areas and if their home was destroyed, which she mentioned, Candace was mentioning, the documentation is much easier. It's 100% financing. So that's a great option for our community and our buyers to look at. And if there's anything that we can be a resource for, both of us would love to help you. To echo your statement about activity, September was really tough. We've seen early October was as well, but we've seen the activity double since then. I think we'll close double in October what we did in September, and we're continuing to see activity increase, even though the rates aren't ideal. So there's opportunities out there, and hopefully one of these days the rates will give us a break, and we'll see more of that. But things are looking a lot better than they were, that's for sure. So thanks, Mike. Amir, good to see you. Good to see you, Bernardo. And
Batman.
Batman, like he's came
And
in
thanks for a
yesterday,
few minutes.
Scary with that Batman look. I didn't know what to do, run or hide or take the
Right.
candy he was giving out. So, hey, Michael, you and your team have just really stepped up and helping out a lot, helping some of our agents. We have, I think, over 40 agents that we know of have been displaced from the home, from the storms, and you guys have really been there. We appreciate that. I want to turn it over to John for us right now. See, John, if you got it, you got to unmute. There you go. And see if you've got anything closing thoughts you want to talk to us about or new information since last week.
Sure thing. I appreciate the audience as always. We've seen this huge surge in listings. So what we would ask for, please, is we know a lot of these deals are going to end up not in MLS, right? A lot of these deals are going to end up off market, right? Because the investor comes in, there's a little bit of negotiation. As licensed real estate professionals, any and all of you have the ability to enter these transactions as you see them into MLS and try and give as much detail as you can. And, you don't have to take credit for the transaction. You can put it in there for statistical purposes and informational purposes. And, we're an appraisal firm for Michael's company, and we really need that data to help get these deals done. That's probably in a needs-based market, I guess, as we would refer to it, perhaps. That lack of exposure to data is what holds us back the most from an appraisal and valuation standpoint. So really knowing the condition, what was included in the sale, what wasn't included in the sale, all those little details, and just the story of the transaction so that we can prove it was exposed to the open market for some period of time. Those are requirements that we have to meet in order to use comparable sales. So that was kind of the message from the team to get out to the real estate community, that we could work together in that regard. And as the appraisers are calling you, please answer the phone. Please take their phone calls, talk to them as much as you can, give them any information that you can. Because you know as well as we do, in a lot of these markets, stuff is moving so fast and it's not necessarily being documented all the time. So that's our message this week.
Awesome.
Great message.
Yeah, that is. And, you know, I've had several calls myself this week. How do I price this? And I go, the data's not here yet. We're having a hard time pricing this. We don't know where you're at. Vacant land only. I don't know if you're, you know, figuring a raise cost in there and everything. But that's imperative that these appraisers get the most accurate data timely that they can to help you on your next deal. Because they can only, you know, they're only reflecting what data we give them. And I know you have a hard enough time right now, John, with the changes, because you don't know what kind of real estate commissions were factored in there, because that field has been removed, and you just don't know if the agent doesn't give you a verbal over the phone. I guess. So all right, as an effort to keep time on time, I want to turn it over to Scooter up there, Scooter Piccolo, our buddy. With Mark.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for the opportunity. And then obviously, thank you for all the information, the good information we get every Wednesday. I think the highlight from the last 7 days is we have been getting a ton of calls from people that are afraid of Citizens as an insurance company. And after speaking with a few of these people, I realized that the reason for the calls were the media has been putting out some headlines. The Citizens is denying upwards of 70% of the claims, 70 meaning 70, you know, like a really, really, really high number of it. And I just wanted to clarify the reason for all these declines. Once we had the first storm, when Helene hit it, we had 90% of the claims were flood only related. There was no homeowners exposure. There was no wind exposure. There was no, you know, nothing that really would be paid out of a homeowner's claim. It was flood only. So the reason we're seeing this excessive amount of declines in claims for Citizens, and I'm not a big fan of them, I'm not trying to protect them or make them look better, is just you know, getting facts out in front of people, is they're getting declined because they don't belong on the Citizens claims list. It would be basically the same thing as filing a claim for a flooded car to your boat insurance. The boat insurance is not going to pay for the car. So that's the reason. Unfortunately, for most of us, Citizens is the only place to be, depending on the age of the house and where it's located. So I just wanted to decrease the fear of that, you know, of going there. Other than that, you know, we've been getting pretty decent feedback on claims being processed timely, payments being fair. It doesn't look like they're nickel and diming us to death on all these claims. So I think this has a chance to be a little bit less painful than what we expected at first. And that's all my spill there for the week.
All right. Well, thank you for that, Bernardo. So I got two things out of that. One, supposed to insure your boat, and two,
Why?
two, I'm not supposed to be afraid of my government subsidized insurance company. I don't know. I hear conflicting messages all the time, but hey guys, we want to wrap it up with this, and thank you all for coming on again today. But the Jimmy Petronas
Did you say Patron?
I did. No, I didn't say Patron. Petronas, the financial officer guy there, chief guy in Tallahassee. Again, I should be afraid of. So the Florida Department of Financial Services has come out with Check My Contract service. So, you know, if you've gotten a work order from a contractor and you think it, you know, even if you don't know for sure, there's a portal. It's called the Check My Contract portal. Allows policyholders to submit repair contracts to DFS for independent reviews. And if you have somebody that has come around and really trying to take advantage of you, they will take it to the next step and go ahead and investigate them for fraud as well. But I think there's twofold. It's a good service for somebody like, I don't know what it should cost to remove 1,800 square feet of drywall and my cabinets and save my granite, like Bernardo was telling us. So when you get one of these contracts, and not so much the realtors, yeah, I mean, you know, we should know too, but to your clients out there, if they're not sure about it, they've got a portal to get that checked out. I think it's a great service. So, go ahead, Tina, you
Is
gonna
it
wrap
my
us up? What
turn?
do you got?
Well, thanks, everybody, and I think Byron put our contact information up there for Integrity Title. Any questions, email address for contracts, anything that you have in the works with us. We're moving forward as quickly as we can on everything. But let's talk about what's on the calendar. Let's see, 2 minutes ago,
I'm supposed to be in another room.
Amir and Byron are in the forums class in the classroom, so they'll be there momentarily. Next Tuesday, I think that's the 5th. Is that Tuesday, Byron? Yeah. 10 a.m. Canva workshop in-house.
There's something else going on the 5th, next Tuesday. What is that? Oh, there's an election.
Yeah,
That's
there's an
right.
I was
confused.
really gonna
The first
try.
Tuesday in November.
So on election day, Byron will be giving the Canva workshop class in-house. Bring your laptops, phone, tablets, and devices, whatever you do. Of course, next Wednesday, we'll be back with the broker update with our guests on Zoom.
Yeah, thank you.
Byron will be over there where you don't get to see him. And then jumping ahead a little bit, let's talk about the holidays.
All right.
Thursday, December 12th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. is our holiday open house. Agents, mark it on your calendar. Food giveaways, music, holiday cheer, and there will be a $10 cash donation at the door. I believe the Kind Mouse is going to be our charity, and they do a lot for the area, not just kids, but the entire area. And so they are really out there. I've actually seen a couple of their vans out roaming around trying to help people out. So that's what we got. Anybody else got anything?
No.
Just
All right.
thank you, everybody, for being here. Thanks, Greg,
Thanks,
for all the
guys. Thank you,
information.
Greg. We appreciate you.
All right. Thanks, guys. See you
All right,
next
see you
week.
next time, guys. Thank you.